Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. This will mark our first YouTube video, and on this one we're going to be installing this Aerocutt aluminium skid plate onto this Megane RS. So this is their 3mm aluminium option. A bit of venting to sort of emulate the factory airflow characteristics and should help with Australian conditions. This one actually had a factory plastic one that's come off. We'll show you in a second when we get the car up on the hoist. But it's been damaged and just come off at the fastener points. This one uses all the factory mounts. Let's get it up, we'll show you how it works. Alrighty, let me take you with me to have a look at the mounting points we're going to use for this aftermarket bash plate. Reusing the factory ones, we've got M6 here, M6 here and M6 here. They're just 10mm head bolts. You can see the remnants of this factory under tray, the plastic one here with our other mounting point from factory. Other one, same side, they're just M6 threaded, so they're 10mm heads as well, and the rear ones, these guys here. So we've got a couple of spaces that'll allow us to clear this little ridge at the back. Now the rear is slotted on the Aerocutt plate, so you'll sort of see you can slide it in from the back and then just mount the front up. It's quite easy. As the plate's kind of vented, you can sort of see like all the hot air in the engine bay, how it wants to get pulled out by the sort of lower pressure air underneath the car with that venting. All right, now you're about to see me unfasten all the factory hardware that's still there, even though this plate has obviously come off like you sort of saw in the previous video. So just 10 mils for these side ones. We'll loosen them off, and for the front ones, where the plate would go onto, got some big washers as well. They're all 10mm heads. So we'll just loosen them, just so you know the location, these guys. And the rear ones as well, 10mm head. So those ones at the back, I'll loosen them, and you'll watch us in a second slide the rear of the Aerocutt bash plate on. All right, now before this bash plate goes on, it's important to put these two, there's 4 total, but we're going to put 2 on each side of these 3mm aluminium spaces onto the rear hardware. Now just to show you, I'm going to bring you with me actually, just to show you how it sort of works. I've still got the factory fasteners in, the factory M6 bolts, and they're just going to slide in from the back just like that, slotted to make it nice and easy. That way when our bash plate's on, you can sort of push it up from the base, the back of the bash plate that is, it'll slot in there nicely, and they'll stay in there and keep the bash plate from sort of hitting this piece of the ridge here. Alrighty, here we go. Now of course, we're lucky enough to have a hoist here. You can imagine kind of doing this on the ground on jack stands, but still easy enough to do on your back. So front on first, just like this. And that slots underneath, sort of between the plastic and the chassis. There you go, it just sits up there like that. I can hold it from the rear. And I've got my aluminium spacers and the bolts here to go in the back. So spacers on first, just like this. And I'll show you this in just a second, how exactly they work in what orientation. And then I can just thread this in just a little bit, and it's going to hold itself there. So that's most of the install sort of process in terms of putting it on done. You can sort of see where I've got the spacers here, and I've slid them in from the back in this case, so they're actually easier to get out. But there you go, that's the spacers in there, and once this gets pressed up, you can sort of see it's not going to foul on that little metal lip at the front anyway. Rear one's not done, and you can sort of see already how the side pieces are going to mount. There you go, another one. And you can already see the front mounts, how they're going to sort of work, just in those factory sort of areas. That's it, we'll get it all on. Now I've just left those rear bolts in there now so I could sort of slide the plate in and show you, but we're going to use our combination of supplied, so we give these with the bash plate, of M6 zinc bolts, and we have a spring washer and a flat washer. So we use the bolt, the spring washer and the flat washer to fasten all the points of this plate, just to sort of ensure no rattling or let this thing sort of come loose. These slotted side pieces go in super easy too. You can already see me just putting them in. Of course, easy enough that when you're on the ground, they're sort of in the right spot. There's no finagling to put it on. You can see I've just about done this in one take. So they're going to get tightened nicely in a minute. This is what 3D scanning does, by the way. 3D scanning to develop our products means that this was genuinely our first shot at making this product, and it's not a weird thing. Every time we do it, we 3D scan a car, and so we've got all the fastener points ready to go for when we sort of prototype and fit these products up. So we already know it's going to fit when we go to do these videos, for example. And there you go, perfect alignment. So no need to move anything, no cutting required. This is not even the car that we scanned, so you get an idea of how it works on a car that, for example, let's say there's an instance where a car's been crashed and repaired and we didn't know about it. There's no sort of differences there. We know that it's going to fit multiple vehicles. These are available now on the aerocutt.com website as well. we'll get it buttoned up and show you when it's done. Alrighty, now I know we have a hoist that makes this much easier, but I'm just going to show you exactly where the fasteners were and what we've replaced them with, and sort of how this bash plate works a little bit. So these are your factory hardware sort of locations that we've just put in there. That's our supplied M6 bolts, same here. Side ones are factory M6 sort of riv nutted from factory. So spring washer, flat washer, just sort of button them up nicely. And the rear ones here, same thing with our spacers, just the M6 bolts. You can see them sticking through the threads there at the back. Spring washer and flat washer. And yeah, with the spacers, this sort of sits nicely just below that ridge. Now, you can already see the venting that we've sort of put in here to help with a bit of airflow, bringing the hot air from the engine bay out of the car and underneath the car. And the two little, now we say knacker ducts, but they're just little vents to sort of emulate the factory vents. To sort of let a bit of airflow through the engine bay. And yeah, out those vents. So there you go, that's our 3mm aluminium bash plate fitted up. Now, it's going to last longer than a factory plastic one. You can already see that the plastic one's obviously been damaged and come off at some point. So people just don't bother putting it back on. It's a nice thing to have, helps with sort of emulating the factory air roll effect, the aerodynamic effect that they sort of utilize from factory that lets air come through the bottom of the car a bit quicker. We're not going to sell these things and say that it's going to make your car that much better on fuel and that much faster, but it does help. They put them there for a reason from factory. Aluminium, like I said, is going to last longer. These things are cheaper than buying one from Renault, a brand new one, especially if you're going to try to find one in Australia. It's quite hard to find one of the factory plastic under trays. And there you go, just a nice sort of upgrade, even if you have a plastic one. I mean, we're sort of a Renault family. You can see that we've got another one there. These are a really cool, good value car in Australia. You see them all the time in the Nürburgring videos. So quite a cool car and a cool upgrade. So easy as to install. You just saw me do it in a couple of minutes, if that. Once again, on a hoist. Really lucky to have this here at the shop. But yeah, nonetheless, easy on the ground as well. All the hardware is included with the kit. It's all factory provisions. There's nothing to modify. It sort of protects all the right stuff in the right places. There's nothing here missing that the factory tray protects that this doesn't. This does everything. So pretty good. Alrighty, thank you for watching our first YouTube video. Now these products, we'll put a link in the description for. It's at aerocutt.com. That's aerocutt.com. We do international shipping. We sell heaps overseas of these specific ones and quite a few others. I'll post a link for the product in the description as well. If you want to get your hands on one of these or ask any questions about them, you can just message us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anything. Pretty down-to-earth sort of guys, and we're happy to chat. Anyway, cool upgrade. If you want to look at them, have a look at the link. Thanks for watching. See you next time.